to the US now. They're used to all sorts of turbulence. This time, political turbulence. The Florida Governor, Ron DeSantis, he's dropped out of the presidential race for the Republicans.
We can't ask our supporters to volunteer their time and donate their resources if we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign.
Well, the Trump campaign responded with a statement saying it was time for Republicans to rally behind the former president to defeat Joe Biden. But
a little funny one for you here. This is not before Donald Trump was filmed reacting in typical Trump fashion.
He just said, will I be using the name Ron DeSanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired.
Nikki Haley, she's an also-ran, really. Anyway, she's his only significant rival left in the race now. Roger, Roger, how do I pronounce your surname? It's
Gewolb.
Gewolb, thank you. Where does that originate from?
It's German.
German. So Roger Gewolb is a former advisor to the Bank of England. He's a political commentator on US matters there. So where are we at? Are you sorry to see DeSantis go?
No, I think it was probably always in the cards. He has a good record, but I think he's not a great candidate. First of all, he waited far too long to announce, so he showed weakness and uncertainty. Then he joined Elon Musk and a billionaire on Twitter Spaces to announce his candidacy, which was total idiocy, because even if it had worked, it's a very small audience compared to what he could have done on any television network. And of course, as everybody knows, it all went haywire with sound interruptions and dropping out and people talking over each other. It was a disaster.
I mean, do you think you can blame him for this, or is it simply the fact that Donald Trump is just such a big character? I mean, I've heard him described as blocking out the sun in terms of all the other candidates. Nobody else stood a chance, really.
Absolutely. I mean, being with Trump is like moving alongside a giant aircraft carrier, full of activity, people able to flatten anything in its way. He's just amazing, and that's certainly part of it. But I think that DeSantis did himself in, as I say, waiting too long. No, he's not responsible for the technical errors, but he is for the choice of platform to use. And then a lot of people feel that he's robotic with people. He doesn't have a warm personality, and in America, it's all personality-based. That's really important.
Yeah. You, of course, rubbed shoulders with Donald Trump over Christmas. You socialized with him?
I went to his Christmas Eve dinner at Mar-a-Lago, yeah, and I spoke with him again. You know, we talked about the lead that he has, which is even greater now, about the primary. He is a force of nature. He's quite something, and
he's not young, and people make the comparison, look how much fitter he is than Joe Biden. But just over the last couple of days, he got Nikki Haley's name muddled up. She claims he's got cognitive impairment. Is that just a political attack line, or has she got a point there?
I guess I've seen him enough times to say that's a political attack. I mean, he is as sharp as a 50-year-old. He plays golf every day. He's super fit. He's a big, tall guy, my height, very, very fit, with an energy that's incredible. So, no, I don't think you can start talking about Joe Biden-type questions around Donald Trump.
In this very unsettled, unsure, scary world in which we all live at the moment, how much would Americans, if at all, be looking at him as the sort of leader they want in the world to stand up against Russia, to stand up against China, to stand up against North Korea?
Well, many people who support him see him exactly as that. In fact, the support is so great. One lady that I know who was at the dinner, who used to be the head of international sales for the world's largest beverage, said to me, he's what gets me up in the morning and gets me through the day. She used to work for him when he was president after she left her large company. The gentleman sitting on my right, who I know fairly well, is an ex-British Army major and MP. And he was so moved, it was Christmas Eve, he turned to me, we were at the table next to Trump, so he just looked at Trump and said, you see that? There is the savior of the Western world. And we're on our way to Mass. And like Jesus, he's so wrongly castigated by so many. That's how loyal and moved some of his supporters are.
Roger, how would the world be different if Trump, would it be different at all if Trump was, at this moment in time, President of the United States?
I think so very much. I mean, you know, my trip was to talk to Trump people and to Biden people. And I found the Biden people, Eamon, rather ill at ease at times because there's a lot of criticism of Joe going on, not just his physical condition, but there's all the Biden crime family in inverted commas stuff that's building and possible indictment. But what's new when I was there a fortnight ago is the criticism that if he hadn't been so jealous of Trump and stopped a number of good things that he did, like the Abraham Accords, we wouldn't have Gaza. They would have signed, geopolitics experts told me, within weeks. The stick would have been taken away from Iran and Hamas, and they couldn't have done October the 7th.
Russia's a problem, though. He wants to be pally with Vladimir Putin. Of course, the International Criminal Court, you know, want him for war crimes. So what do you do about that if you're Donald Trump?
I think he's changing his view because the geopolitical experts I'm referring to are people who advise Trump and some who advise Biden, and they're all pretty unanimous now that Putin is behind all of this. Putin wants Mother Russia restored to her former glory and wants the quote-unquote satanic ways of the West eliminated. And that's why he's, you know, in league with the mullahs in Iran and all of this, and he's pulling the strings, they feel.
But why, with all of these criticisms of Biden looming, why do I not hear names who are contesting Biden? Why do we not hear alternatives to Biden from the Democrats?
This is what I don't understand. We've got two. We have Marianne Williamson, I think it's Williamson, an author who is Oprah's spiritual guide. And Marianne wants to lead with $100 billion of reparations for slavery.
Right.
Now, that, you know, I mean, great idea, sure, wonderful. But, I mean, if you're an American, do you actually want to forego your summer holiday because of something your great-great-great-grandparents probably weren't even involved in? I mean, it's a sort of a risky stance. And she's got a couple of other fairly kooky things. Dean Phillips is a very wealthy businessman who made big successes out of his family's liquor firm, but he's a congressman. How is he going to step in and run America?
Isabel and I sit here continually impressed by Anthony Blinken, aren't we?
Yeah, he's impressive, yeah.
When we see him going around the world, is he a contender?
Anthony Blinken's stepfather was my lawyer in Paris many years ago. Right. And I think he's spinning in his grave at what his stepson is doing. But I think, yeah, I mean, he's just Joe's mouthpiece, and they say Joe is Obama's mouthpiece. It's people.
So that'll be a no then.
Listen, we could talk to you all day. Absolutely fascinating. Next time you have a chat with Donald Trump, come and tell us what it consisted of. We'd love to hear.
You'll be the first.
Thank you so much.